Alright, so number 2, a few of you awesome camera geeks brought this to my attention and I found this very interesting. So let's go over this one. Alright. Some may have forgotten this camera. The world may have forgotten this camera. Ricoh may have forgotten this camera. But I haven't forgotten about this camera. You guys haven't forgotten about this camera. What is going down, you awesome and voracious camera geeks? Sam from CameraLegend.com, and we are back today. Alright, and today this one is actually a response video to many of you who have written to me telling me that you guys bought an original Ricoh GR Digital based on my video, which I'll leave at the end screen for you guys or at the link, or just look up Ricoh GR Digital original and you'll find it there. Alright, so apparently on that video, which was almost 15 minutes long, I had left out a few things, and for some of you guys it caused some confusion, and I apologize for that. So some things that I left out on that video I'm going to address here. Alright, basically I'm going to address your questions, and a lot of them are actually legitimate concerns. Alright, so let's get right on into it and not waste any more of your time. Alright, you awesome camera geeks. Well, the first thing that you should know about the Ricoh GR Digital, and this is one that I've received a couple of questions on. It appears that a few of you guys and gals who have bought this camera tried to put in one of the newer SD cards and the camera didn't accept it. Well, the reason for that is that this camera actually only accepts up to 2 gigs. Okay, so my apologies for not mentioning that in the first video. You know, I came from an era where these 2 gig cards were plentiful, and since it's always in my camera, I didn't really think about it. Alright, but a few of you have also pointed out that it's harder and harder to find these cards, and I noticed for myself actually that this is true. But don't sweat it too much, because even to this day I am still able to get those old smart media cards, which I don't know if any of you guys remember, but that's from the 90s, and it wasn't such a smart card because they're pretty much gone. But I can always find them on eBay. So if you're having trouble finding these cards, alright, try eBay first, and I'll leave some links to some places that still sell them, but no guarantees, because I think these cards have been phased out. But as I said, don't sweat it. You're always going to be able to find a 2 gig card. Alright, now you can also use anything under 2 gig, 1 gig, you know, 512 megabytes, 256 megabytes, anything 2 gigs and under. Alright, if you try to put a larger card into this camera, it's going to default to the internal memory, which you're not going to get a lot of shots out of that. Alright, so that's the first thing. Alright, so number 2, a few of you awesome camera geeks brought this to my attention and I found this very interesting. So let's go over this one. Apparently some of you have tried to do my black and white settings that I showed on my GRD original video, and apparently you guys couldn't get to this menu. Alright, so when it was brought to my attention, I suspected it was the firmware, but the main reason, and my apologies, the main reason I didn't mention it on the last video was because I use this one most often, so it just slipped my mind. But anyway, here's my other one, and as you can see, this one doesn't offer that setting. Alright, so I want to tell you what the problem is and how to remedy it. Okay, like I said, I suspected it was the firmware, but I couldn't be sure because information is kind of scarce now on these things, on these cameras, because this is from like 2004, 2005. But I did the research for you guys, and I found out that it is the firmware. Alright, so what you want to do, and I'll show you how to do it, alright, is first of all you got to check the firmware of your camera. Alright, so it's gonna be kind of funky to do. That's why it's better to do it on the camera without the wide angle adapter, because you're gonna have to hold it flat. You're gonna have to leave it flat, and I'll show you how to do this. Alright, you guys, just a little disclaimer before we continue. Whenever you are updating the firmware of a digital camera or anything computer related, there is always a possibility that you may mess things up. Now, because this is an official firmware by Ricoh, the chances are very, very, very slim that that would happen, but the chances are still there. All right, so you are taking your own risk when you are doing this. Now, with that said, if you go to Ricoh's website and you do update the firmware, I can almost guarantee that you would have no problems with the update. On the other hand, should you decide not to update the firmware, I can also say that nothing to worry about. You're still going to get great black and whites from this camera, and there's nothing you couldn't do by putting it in the processing software and changing some of the sliders to suit your taste. Alright, so to check the firmware of your Ricoh GR Digital Original, what you need to do is the power has to be off, and you have to turn the mode dial to the video. Alright, then what you're going to do is you're going to turn it to the back, and this is a little funky to do, so I recommend you putting it on a flat surface and using two hands right here. Okay, so you're going to hold down the play, you're going to hold down the down, and you're going to hold down the upper portion of the magnifying area all at once. And it should pull up the screen right here. And as you can see on this camera has on the third line, third from top, CPU number 2, version 2.10. Alright, so on my main GRD, the one that I use the most, you can see that on the CPU 2 part, which is the third down from the top, is version 2.40, and that is the firmware version that you need to get into that extended black and white settings menu. Alright, so I'm going to show you a screen where to go on how to update your firmware, but if you can't see it here, check the link at my website. Alright, and I'll leave a link for you guys over there so that you guys can update your GRD and use it to the best of its potential. Alright, so number 3, a few of you awesome camera geeks said to me, Samster, you little war-torn son of a bitch, what is the adapter that you're using to make your Ricoh GR Digital a poor man's GR21? Digital GR21. Well, I'm going to give you the parts, alright, that you need. Alright, so first you need the lens, the wide angle lens, which is right here. It is the GW1. Alright, Ricoh GW1. You'll also need this little adapter right here, which is the Ricoh GH1. So those are the two parts that you need: Ricoh GH1 and Ricoh GW1 wide angle lens. Alright, and that will turn your Ricoh GR Digital into that poor man's digital GR21. Alright, so the last question. Samster, will you be selling any of your 3 original Ricoh GR Digitals? And as much as I love you guys, the answer is no. Alright, but as I said, fear not. Still can be easily found, especially on eBay, coming from Japan. So get your own and be very happy with it. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed that episode, and I hope it answers some of your questions and helps you to fine-tune your original Ricoh GR Digital. Alright, so if you guys use this video in conjunction with my first original Ricoh GR Digital quote film-like video, which I'll leave at the end screen, I think you guys will have everything covered to fine-tune your original GRD to the very best of its potential. And I want to thank you guys, first of all, for keeping the camera alive. Like I said, this camera right here from 2005, my favorite point and shoot of all time. You know, the world may have forgotten about this camera, the digital camera world may have forgotten about this camera. Chris Nichols may have forgotten about this camera. Kai may have forgotten about this camera. But I haven't forgotten about this camera. You guys haven't forgotten about this camera. Alright? You guys are keeping the legacy of the original Ricoh GR Digital alive. And I thank you guys for that, because we are family, man. We are the cult of the original Ricoh GR Digital. One of the main reasons that I made this video is to show you guys that I do listen to you. Alright? And my apologies to some of you who have requested stuff and I still haven't gotten to. You know, it's a little rough with family life and work and all that stuff, but I will eventually get to it. But I just want to show you guys that I do listen to you. And I don't know if you remember, but on that last episode about the Fuji X100, where I mentioned a friend who was talking to me about those arrogant camera bloggers that he met that you know, wouldn't give him the time of the day, wouldn't answer his questions, ignored him. You know, well, I don't want to be one of those people, because I've always said from the start, alright, it's not about me, it's about the cameras. So I'm sure you didn't come to see me, right? I'm sure you didn't come to see this get up right here, whatever that is. At least I hope not. You came to see the cameras, the freaking cameras, right? And I'm going to give it to you. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time on thecameralegend.com. And this one's for you, babe.
And I will catch you guys next time on thecameralegend.com.
YouTube channel. Happy holidays, guys.
CameraLegend.com